Hey everybody, and welcome to Stock Abilities. Today I'm going to be covering the Amazon One. It's essentially you pay with your hand's palm. It's kind of a unique technology from Amazon that just released, well, announced recently, but not released quite yet. You swipe your hand, you swipe your palm, it recognizes your palm features, and that in turn helps you pay for whatever you're paying for through Amazon. Kind of a unique technology. They're distributing through different stores and things like that in their Amazon Go stores at 7th and Blanchard, as well as in their store in South Lake Union. Basically, they say it takes less than a minute to sign up, and then you just, instead of using your card or whatever, you use your hand. I suppose this is kind of more of a COVID related push, so as you're not physically touching any device, they're just simply scanning it. It creates a unique market share opportunity, and that's probably why it's up a little bit in the trading day today, just from this. And they also had another technology that I mentioned in another video I'll cover here just really shortly. But as they suggested, or as they said, as with everything Amazon does, we started with the customer experience and worked backwards. We solved for things that are durable and have stood the test of time, but often cause friction or wasted time for customers. And they wondered what could help potentially doing this. So they were thinking things like, at a stadium or at a big event, and just to speed things along and make things go smoother. So you're in a big long line, and instead of everybody, taking the hassle out to pull out their credit card, what have you. They simply swipe their hand. Kind of a little bit of a scary concept if you think about it. If you think about those cyber tech kind of scenarios, But going a little bit more into that, I don't know if you guys recall those movies where they like cut off their people's hands and stuff and run away with them to, pay different services, whatever, what have you. You're going to get this kind of stuff coming into the future if they keep inventing this kind of technology. So that is something to me that's a little bit worrisome in that regard. When you have these eye scans, when you have these hand scans, and then what's next? Your feet, and they're going to have all these body part scans, and then people are going to harvest those parts potentially to do and utilize those in the near future. Regardless of what people say, you probably won't see it very well publicized, but those are things that are at least a concern to me, that if I'm going to be using my hand, I'm going to be using my fingers, what have you, that someone's going to want that from you, and they're going to potentially cut it off just to use essentially your equivalent credit card. Before, it's not so bad. They take your card or whatever if you're in a scenario like that, but now you're running the risk that they might want your limbs in order to get access to your devices and things like that. But as not going to get too much into that, that's my concern utilizing a service like this. But essentially, you hold your palm over the Amazon One device. Technology evaluates multiple aspects of your palm. No two palms are alike, so they analyze these aspects with vision technology and select the most distinct identifiers on your palm to create your palm signature. So it's kind of like an eye scan, whatever. It's kind of like a finger thumbprint on your fingerprint. I said that a little bit weird, but you get my point. You know, it's safer, sort of, but I think there's going to be flaws in that. They say palm prints are unique, but just how unique are they? There's also going to be misfires and things like that. Security aspects that I would say come into, someone having maybe a similar palm to you. I don't believe that everybody's is going to be unique enough to distinguish that. They say it is. I don't know. I'm not like a biometric kind of professional to state that yes or no. I just don't see that being unique enough. Essentially, if you decide you don't want the biometric data stored, you can always get rid of it later on at a certain point. They're collecting additional data from you. They have these drones coming out. They're going to be flying around people's houses. It's getting to a lot of privacy and security concerns in that regard. Regardless of all of that, it is a value in market share, so the stock should theoretically go up. It's, in theory, but we'll see how that progresses. I mean, that the dystopian future that we might be seeing here, uh, a kind of a cyberpunk kind of scenario here. You're going to basically be able to scan with your hands, your feet, your your limbs, but that's going to create kind of a serious concern for me. But we'll see how that goes. One of the other new techs that I mentioned in another video, if you want to check it out in the actual Stock Abilities channel, and it'll be right there in the videos that you can easily find. But this is a new Ring camera, a new drone, flies around your house. What I was just saying, a lot of this tech seems to be leading up to, although this was kind of a fluff video, they were contemplating doing where they'll have kind of big blimps flying around, dropping off essentially drones around the world and kind of hovering around and spying on you almost in essence, which is a little bit of a worry. So it's not only a privacy concern with this kind of stuff, but it's a security concern as well. We're getting into like a grid-based society, and it's getting kind of a little bit creepy in that regard. Despite all of that, from a market share point of view, they're combating COVID, they're combating all this other stuff, and in turn, that's going to result in more and more market share value. But uh, I would say that Amazon would have to split to some degree, at least for me to be interested in buying this. Now, you can buy fractional shares if you want, but fractional shares, a lot of brokers aren't exactly nice in offering that for free, and the ones that are, the transaction time between when you buy it and when you actually get them can be quite substantial. So you're waiting on that delay as well. But on the daily, it's up nicely. It could be in really regards to the debates and everything that happened yesterday, or just general political push, all that kind of stuff. But it is up nicely regardless the day after that news came out. It's kind of carrying over. It's been a nice little rebound since basically March, where it dropped to 1,785. So it's almost double in just 1 year. How it's going to continue from here and how practical that is. This is the biggest jump, I believe, since like 2017 that Amazon has ever had. That's a lot of unique market share. We'll see how it grows from here. I don't think it's going to necessarily stop, but I do think at some point, in order to continue attracting new investors, they're going to have to split to some degree. I get why they keep the price at what they keep it at, but ultimately, they're trying to appeal to like a richer crowd to say this is our valuation, so on and so forth. But they can still split it one fourth of the way and still have promise in that regard. But if you have your own inputs in the Amazon One device, safety concern or what have you, or what you think the future might be for that, uh, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Tech is rather primitive, so to speak, so I don't see that cyberpunk utopia thing coming into play just yet. I mean, we've had eye scans for quite a while, and people aren't ripping other people's eyes out. But as these technologies become more prominent in the world and more prominent, just in a day-to-day basis, when you start seeing stuff like this popping up at a Walmart or popping up at different types of stores outside of Amazon's own little area there, you're going to have cheaper knockoff variations of the Amazon one, and other people are going to be utilizing them in their own businesses. So you're going to have small businesses where you're going to get a report where someone cut off someone's hand just to run and swipe a card, so on and so forth. And that's going to become kind of a security thing in the future. I think it's going to take a little bit till it gets to some kind of point like that. So hopefully they're working on some kind of practical scenario in order to prevent from something like that happening. But from a retail standpoint, I can understand why they do that with COVID. I can understand why it's a concern that they don't want people touching devices, things like that. Not only does it, help now, but it helps in the future because it helps to reduce the spread of germs. It helps to reduce, the congestion from big events from like a stadium, or big events from any kind of any kind of thing that's going on, whether it's music, whether it's sports, so on and so forth. You can get in and out with the swipe of your palm. It saves a lot of time. It saves a lot, it pushes the consumer base a little bit quicker in regards to the charging and getting people into where they wanted to without as much of a hassle. They've had variations of this for years. This is just one of the newer pushes that Amazon's pushing for, anyways. and other companies are slowly getting it out. They've had that swipe technology, if you guys are familiar, for years now, from like Minority Report, things like that. But this is just just one of those newer technologies, and we'll see how it progresses into the future and what that means. But I will see you guys later on. Make sure to comment below if you want more videos about, different unique Amazon products and how that might be affecting their market share. Or if you want, just reviews about anything that might be affecting tech or whatever, what have you, so on and so forth. Whether it's tech, whether it's non-tech, something that's interesting to me that I wanted to cover in a video, I'll cover it here, as long as it's stock related. I have freelancing channels and other things, but this is going to be a stock related specific channel. So only going to be covering things that might impact the stock price. Like with Amazon One, it's more efficient, but is it safe? I don't know. Right now, it's still in a really limited capacity, so you probably won't be utilizing it personally, unless you're in one of those exclusive cities that has like the Amazon groceries and all that kind of stuff. Seattle seems to be one of those bigger ones that's getting a lot of this stuff. So if you're in a place like that, make sure to leave a review and share your own input directly about this device and what you think of it for the future. See you guys later on, and have a great day.